There we
Yeah.
go. Ta-da! We are ready.
Yippee!
Oh, so welcome to December's Mine My Mind, which is basically I will just share a few things on the theme of the month, and then there's a Q&A session where you can ask me whatever you wish around any of the work that I do. So this month's theme is reflect and embrace. And there are three elements that I've kind of picked for this, and of course, we can always expand and explore. So the first is, what is your voice reflecting? So the theme of the month or it comes from my membership group, my online membership, and it's December, right? It's the perfect time to reflect back over the year and go, okay, how was this year? How was I? What did I do? It is also coming up to solstice, which is the return of the light. So it's time to sort of embrace the darkness. We're in the middle of the dark months now. So it's also that time of embracing maybe some of the stuff that wasn't so great this year, but that has in some way helped us form, shape ourselves, and also embrace the good stuff, embrace the light that we have and the light that is to come back as we get past solstice. So that's why this question, what is your voice reflecting? And the answer to that is pretty much the whole of you. So your voice is a reflection of every experience or emotion you have ever had, witnessed, or, and this one's the kicker, imagined. So it's our imagined situations. And for Ali and Josh, who've both done the natural success work, we know that it's that we're making up our reality. So that those imagined thoughts, feelings, um, and we don't have to experience something for our voice to reflect what it might be like in that situation. So, for example, I had a client once and he said, "Oh, yeah, but I'm what if people think I'm foolish? Like, what if I forget something and people think I'm foolish?" I said, "Well, has this ever happened to you?" He said, "No, no, it's never happened." "Has it ever happened to someone that you know? Have you seen this happen to someone?" He went, "Well, no, no, I haven't." But it might happen, right? It could happen. So it's that power of the imagination reflects in your voice, reflects how you share your voice, whether you share your voice, whether you don't share your voice. Your voice is also a reflection of every thought and feeling you are having in the moment. And again, this is the power of conscious choice. So, for example, before this session, I've got a bit of a cold. I've been on my feet all day. It's been a bit, ugh. I've got other stuff going on in with family at the moment and family illness. So before this session, it's like, right, okay, do I want my voice to be reflecting the junk that's going on in my life, or do I want my voice to be reflecting the focus of this session for the people who are giving up their time to come? So it's that conscious choice. What are your conscious thoughts and feelings? Because otherwise, the subconscious ones will always overtake it, and your voice will reflect those. They'll reflect whatever it is. I might have just won the lottery 3 minutes ago, and actually, if I were in that state, my voice would be like, "Hey, so it's really great to see you," which might not be appropriate for the topic of the conversation, right? Your voice will also reflect your physical state. So you can hear in my voice that I'm a little bit bunged up. You can hear in my voice that I'm a little bit chesty. And those are things, this is when we make the choice of what are you reflecting? What do you choose to reflect? So your voice will reflect your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, your emotions. It will reflect your physical state. Some of these things we have less power over. So the physical state we have less power over because the body is having a direct impact on the airflow, on the vocal folds, etc. The thoughts, feelings, experiences, and emotions that you can choose how your voice reflects it. So, as you were just saying, lovely JW, um, about the experience that you've been having this last 5 years. When you speak about that, depending how you're feeling about it on the day, that will be reflected in your voice. It is the same for all of us. So I invite you to just bring this little awareness to yourself. Like, what does your voice reflect? It will reflect every element of you. It reflects how you feel you have to be for certain people and other people. It will reflect your identity. And the more your identity is controlled by either other people or your perception of what you think other people will think, then the more your voice will be restricted. If we are open to the whole of who we are, open to our whole self, and allowing ourselves to recognize different bits of us, then the voice reflects either your sense of wholeness in a situation, or your sense of belonging, or your sense of being ostracized, or whatever it is you feel in those situations. So, yeah, what is your voice reflecting is the question. And does your voice resonate in the whole of you? It sort of brings us on to the second point, so I won't skip quite on there yet, about embracing your voice. But noticing, how do you feel about your voice? Like, when you speak, do you like your voice? Do you judge your voice? Do you believe other people judge your voice, either positively or negatively? And what does that then reflect in you? So the way we show up vocally is a direct reflection of our thoughts and feelings about ourselves in general, ourselves specifically in relation to the situation we're in, and ourselves in relation to the people that we are with. And when you have a conscious awareness about what your voice is reflecting, then of course you can choose to put your thoughts and feelings into a different space to have the impact or the influence that you want to be having in the room. It's sometimes we can all think of someone who we love dearly but irritates the hell out of us. Or who we love dearly, but I don't know for you, there's a couple of people in my life who I love dearly, but I'm so impatient with, because their structure and my structure are different. And I'm not the world's most patient person anyway. But when I'm with those people, I have to then consciously ask myself, well, what impact do I want to have? What end result do I want to achieve just by being in this space with that person? Right? It doesn't even have to be specific. Think of something that's coming up for me, which will be Christmas lunch, which Mum had asked me to do the cooking for. Brilliant, excellent, fantastic. And then a few days ago, she went, "Oh no, it's okay. I'll do the cooking. You can do it with me." I'm like, "Oh no, 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 no," because I know that I am a control freak in the kitchen, and I know that my mum is very laissez-faire, and that structure and my structure do not meet. And I am aware that in that situation, my voice then reflects my impatience with her. My voice reflects my judgment. So then I have to be conscious and I have to go, okay, I am aware of this. What do I want my voice to reflect? The love that I have for my mum and the good time that we want Christmas to be, or the fact that she's doing it wrong? Or if she's going to ask me to be sous chef, she should know by now that she tells me what to do and not ask me a question. Yeah. Would you do the carrots? Yeah, sure. How would you like them done? Oh, I don't mind. No! So what is your voice reflecting in different situations? And how self-aware are you about what your voice reflects? Because sometimes it doesn't reflect the truth of our feelings for that person. My voice very often with my mum, bless her and love her, and her unconditional love for me, reflects my general impatience, which she then takes personally. And as we know, it's not personal, it's structural. But that she doesn't live by that standard. So then she takes it personally because I've been short with her. So it's like, what do you want your voice to reflect? and what is your voice reflecting? It's a big topic, which I can and do talk about for literally days, but not now. So before we move on to the second point around this reflect and embrace, are there any questions you have, any aha moments that you might have around what your voice reflects or what you would like it to reflect, or any questions like, if I'd like it to reflect this, but I find that difficult. Is there anything that I might be able to help you with specifically? Okay. Lovely. Adelaide, as always, if you want to type in a question, you know that that is the way to do it for you, because I know you can't come off mute. So let us move to the second part, which moves nicely on from what is your voice reflecting, which is embracing your voice. We all have different voice, we all have different tones of voice, and our voice is different in different situations in different ways. We can change where our voice sits. My voice now sits, well, today it sits even lower because it's physiologically shifted. But my voice sits in a much deeper, more resonant space. My voice mostly sits in my middle to lower chest. That's where it resonates from. I've never particularly had a particularly high voice, but when I went to drama school, my voice was probably somewhere up here. And then after drama school, my voice dropped to sort of about here. And then having done the sound healing for years and working with, my voice now sits in this place here. Because the more of me I have opened up and accepted, the more of me I have allowed to be seen and heard, the more my voice stops those restrictions that I was talking about earlier. When we're full of emotional and thought-filled restrictions, what happens very often is the voice goes up into the head. So we speak from here, and it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, or whether the voice is you know, some people, you know, if you have a bigger frame, your voice will naturally be lower, and if you have a smaller frame, your voice will naturally be higher. But just because of those things doesn't necessarily mean your voice will be there. So do you embrace your voice, or do you judge your voice? Like, have you explored the whole of your voice? Where does it sit, and where would you like it to? Lots of people that I work with hate their accent, for example. I've worked with several people like, oh, I hate my accent. And very often with British regional accents, there tends to be a thing around either, and mostly the one that I've had people coming to me is saying, oh, I hate my accent because I think people think I'm thick. And I've had this with a couple of people from Essex. I've had this with a couple of people from Birmingham, and this is the social strata of this country's hierarchical systems. And I actually had someone at university negatively judge me for my poshness. And so, you know, and some people cannot like that, so they'll deliberately change their voice because, oh no, I don't want to sound posh, so I'll just put on this like this estuary accent, and then I'll just fit in wherever I fit in. I'm a bit of a mushroom with my voice. If I'm hanging around, I pick up the flavor of accents. So if I'm hanging around to people, and part of that might be I do have an ear. I am an actress. I listen. I have a naturally good ear for that. But I'm also aware I've done this since I was a child. And so part of that, I am certain, is part of my pattern of feeling like I don't belong. So then I maybe created a good ear to be able to adapt my accent to feel like I could fit in and belong, rather than just embracing my very middle class Surrey accent, which I now happily embrace. So I invite you, you know, do you embrace your voice? Do you like your voice, the tone of your voice, the pitch of your voice? Or do you know / feel that your voice could actually, if you opened yourself up more to being more seen, more heard, is there a space that you feel your voice would be more true for you to sit in? And these are the mysteries that we don't know. Any questions about embracing your voice?
I think there are a lot of well, I know as soon as you started talking about it, there was definitely stuff lots of different stuff there. Yeah, it's quite an interesting one actually. The first topic not so much, but this one was like, oh yes. Because you're right,
Mm.
people. I mean, for me, like because I have such a loud voice, and I know I speak at 18 rather than 6 decibels, like because I had it tested before. Because I had another thing. I had it tested before I had my throat lasered, and I couldn't speak for a year, which is another thing,
Mm.
which is very odd. But and yeah, quite depressing not being able to speak to people. It's right for a while, but so speaking that loudly. So when everyone else was talking at school, if I said one word, because I didn't speak much at school, but if I said one word, everybody could hear me, and I would get told off. Say, and I was always told I was too loud or too noisy or all these different things. So that all had quite a big impact, really. And only recently, it's like, well, you just embrace whoever you are, and that just happens to be that. And then there's also the weird thing that I do have, as everyone keeps telling me, quite a posh accent, even though none of my family do, and that makes no sense because people always don't understand, as I don't understand where that came from. Apart from the fact that I moved many, many, many times,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so I don't speak like my mum's Essex and my stepfather's Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I went to a public school when I was 3 for like a year, which is obviously quite formative, I suppose. So maybe
Hmm.
that's where it came from. But I only did a year, um, and then that was that. So I don't know. So it is weird. So a lot of people presume that I've been to a very posh school and I'm from a posh background and all this stuff, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, it has positives as well. I get jobs that a lot of people I know go for jobs that I go for. They don't get it purely because people don't think they connect with them as well. And purely my accent with those people, obviously, it helps me in there. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there are a lot of positives as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I even
Yeah.
had someone from the end of the road here who's got a very estuary voice, and she was saying something about and we chat quite a lot, and but she was like, oh yeah, the posh bit of the road or something. And my neighbor was out as well, and he was just like, and I was like, well, not really. And she said, oh, I'm not being derogatory or anything. She said, but I could. And then it was very sweet. She said, I wish you could read books and I could listen to you talking all day. So
Yes.
whereas I was thinking she was saying it negatively, she actually wasn't. She was like, I think your voice is amazing.
Yeah. And this is
So
the thing.
you know,
We all, and our voice is so much a part of our identity. And Adelaide, I have seen your questions and I will address it. Um, our voice is so much a part of our identity. Huge, vast.
yeah,
And we start developing our identity at about the age of 3. And normally that is within the family. But if you then went to a very different school, then that would become, or nursery, that would
yeah.
become very formative.
Well, that's the only thing I can attribute it to because
Mm,
I wasn't in that sphere with those people. So apart
yeah.
from for that year,
And
so
it is so much about belonging. It's so much about, so Adelaide, your question about, as a child, you adapted your voice to those around you. We do it. It's to feel like we belong. So it's not, don't hold on to this being a negative thing. Just allow yourself to be aware. And then because it is a part of our identity, this is why so much of the work I do is, it's why it's your whole voice, right? It's your whole voice because I want to help people find your voice, your own voice. I don't want to create a million mini me's. The world does not need that. Um, and it's your whole voice because it's about accepting the whole of who you are in your wholeness. And it's okay if you come from an Essex council estate and you speak like Josh. Like,
yeah,
that's all right. If that is naturally how you feel more comfortable, if that's where you've developed, if that's where how you've come. And it's okay if you're um being an actor. What's really interesting is in the old days they used to change everyone's accent to be RP, received pronunciation, which is how I speak, how Josh speaks. So Judi Dench, I once saw her CV when I went to drama school at Spotlight, the directory, actors directory, bought her CV, and under skills it had accents, Yorkshire. Like, that was it. Um, and that is, her native accent. But in the old days, they used to drive your accent out of you, less these days, thankfully. So how do you go about accepting your voice? There are a few ways. One of them I'm going to share, which you may have seen me share before, is about accepting the whole of who you are and accepting that we are slightly different people with different people. We are slightly different people in different situations. And and the question is, are you adapting your voice deliberately? Not a bad thing. We can do this, like job interviews, whatever. Actually, I know I'm speaking to this kind of person, so I might soften my accent just to make them feel less threatened. I might heighten my accent to help me feel more like, so when I was working in St James's with lots of private equity companies and lots of public school people, it's like, okay, I'll just heighten this a tiny bit, because otherwise, from the social strata of this country, I know I don't want to give them the opportunity to look down on me just because of my accent at first. And then when we get to know each other, it'll be fine. So you can make a conscious choice, and that's okay. As long as you are still the whole of who you are. So this crystal is always the whole crystal. Right? It's got a pretty dirty, muddy bottom. It's got these really pointy, it's got this little black thing at the top there. It's got these pretty sparkly bits. It's got this little cave inside it. And it doesn't matter which part of the crystal I show you. Doesn't matter if I hung it upside down. Oh, look, it's like a heart like that. I'd never noticed that before. It's always the whole crystal. It can't be anything else. You are always the whole of who you are. The joy of being human is that if there is a part of us that actually is not useful for us, if there is a part of us that does restrict us or hold us back, we can change our structure. Now, if I wanted to, I could lob a bit of this crystal off, right, and change its structure. As humans, we can make that choice. And it's also really healthy to accept the whole of who you are, including your slightly grimy bottom, right? So that thing about me being impatient, I accept it. Could I change that? If I really wanted to, yes, I could. But is it worth the effort? No. Have I changed a lot around my sense of insecurity and my anger and my pain? Yes, that was worth the effort. And I have completely changed those structures. Well, not entirely. I'd say I've 92% changed those structures. It's sometimes the deep pain, the rage might come back, but so rarely now. And that's the joy of being human. We grow, we do adapt, we do change, and we can keep accepting the whole of who we are. So part of accepting your voice is accepting the whole of who you are in this moment right now. And accepting the whole of who you are tomorrow. And accepting the whole of who you are in a year's time. Because the best of humanity is about being able to learn and grow and adapt. So we can keep accepting the whole of who we are in the moment. A more practical exercise for accepting your voice, Adelaide, if you would like a more practical exercise, is to hear yourself more. Allow yourself to hear yourself more. I have a lot of clients who, unlike Josh and myself, are on the more introverted scale of personality. and a lot of those people find people like us, loud people, quite challenging to be around. And so therefore even keep their voice even quieter than it might be, because they don't want to be perceived as loud, because they find loud brash or other things. So, but a great way to accept your voice, whether you are loud or quiet or however, is to use it more. And a really great way to do this is to hum and siren a hum. So you can try this if you want. So you just breathe out, breathe in, and hum. And then you siren that hum. We choose the hum because it's easier on the voice. It's not going to create any strain on the vocal folds. And because as you go down and up, you can just take yourself slightly higher than comfortable and slightly lower. And you can start accepting and playing with the whole range of your voice. And then the next step from that would be really play, Adelaide. So if you want to start accepting your voice, let go of trying to control, because very often the way we use our voice is trying to control how other people see us. And if we need to accept the whole of who we are, we actually need to accept the whole of where our voice can go. So we can be silly with our voice. And start making silly noises. Start opening the mouth a little. So they are ridiculous exercises, but they're so powerful to help you. I love that. Yes, Joshi. Help you embrace the whole of what is accessible to you. That maybe because of life, society, whatever, your voice has become restricted. So Adelaide, let me know if that is helpful. And which has brought us nicely into the third element that I was going to use, which was playing with sound to embrace. So you've all brought me nicely into this space of this is the way to do it. Just play with sound. If you really want to be brave, open from the hum into an ah, oh, and then you can just change, play with your mouth shapes. Oh, and then you bring your tongue into it. If you want to be able to embrace more of the whole of you, because your voice is a reflection of your thoughts and feelings about yourself, largely about yourself, no matter what the situation or who the people are, then the thing to do is to start playing with your voice and notice where you judge yourself when you play with your voice. Because if you're going, and you're like, oh my God, no, cringe, oh, I can't, then there's a part of you, maybe the playful part of you, that you're hiding away. Maybe if you play with your voice and like, no, and the deep, rich tones, you're like, oh no, that's a little bit too. Maybe there's a part of you that doesn't like authority, right? We often equate a lower, deeper voice, more gravitas, with authority. If you're playing with the higher point and you're like, no, I'm playing with my voice, right? And you don't like that. I used to judge that a lot, right? Because it was really girly, right? And girly was weak and pathetic in my thought process. So to me, oh, if you're speaking like your little girly voice, you're like, oh, isn't that lovely? And I'll just speak up here because this is just really inoffensive, and I'll get everything I want because I'm just a little girl and I can't cope. Right? Those were my judgments on that tone and that playfulness and now I'm like, gee, I love my girliness. I love stepping into that. So start playing with your voice in different ways. And then you'll start, the more you embrace and accept your voice, the more you will start accepting and embracing yourself. So you can work from it from both ways, the outside in, which is play with your voice, and you'll start accepting more of you, or from the inside out, the reflection, and starting adapting how you think and feel about yourself, situations, and other people, and that will change your voice. It works both ways like glorious magic. So, here endeth the lessons. We step fully and wholly into the Q&A section of the session, where you can either just give me revelations from what we've explored today, or ask me questions about any part of the work I do, and I will answer as well as I can. Josh.
Yes. Well, I've got a couple of things actually, things that I'd obviously parked and forgotten about. And by you talking about it has made me think about it. So after I'd had my throat lasers and I was on and off not allowed to talk for about a year, I had to learn to talk again. And partly I was told it was due to, obviously, I had a very, very stressful job. I was speaking more from up here than rather than down here. So
Yeah.
I was having, and obviously I do forget that still a lot, obviously, but it was more about allowing the resonance to come up, but I still forget to do that quite a lot. But it's not as bad as it used to be. But that was, and it was weird, and realizing how people react to you very differently when you can't speak. They're almost they talk about you or to someone near you, or as it, and they actually treat you as if you're dumb just because you can't speak. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting project. Not that I intended it to be. So I suppose, are there any techniques that you think are easy to put in place to remember to breathe properly and especially for me to speak from lower down? Because obviously as you get older, and I know we all do it, we start to do more from up here, which obviously caused me a lot of problems. So
yes, so the hum.
Yes.
Really do that in the shower for 30 seconds. Right, the shower is close to, and as you're doing it, you can take your hand and with a gentle cupping, you can just bring your hand and you can in around your ribs, around your lower ribs, so you can just knock your ribs here, right?
Yeah.
Ribs here, and that as you're humming, that will encourage your voice deeper into your body. It'll just
really? Okay.
Yeah, it just gently opens things up. You can get your thumb and forefinger in little circles, and you can do the same on your back. So,
what, down here? Okay.
So you're literally gently encouraging your voice to be embodied rather than speaking from up here. Yeah, okay. And we all do this sometimes, right? If we're stressed or in a rush, or maybe really emotional, when we get really emotional, our throat will. So, but yeah, so if you want to, on a day-to-day situation, or if you're going into a situation, gentle hum with a little bit of that tapping brings your voice more embodied into your body.
And does that help you kind of form words better and kind of relax the muscles and stuff? Or
it form words better is probably more about either your thought process, so slowing down. So it will help you slow down because you're in your body and less in your head.
Ooh, I've learned a lot about that. I used to speak like a train.
Yeah. So, and again, another thing you can do is just place your hand on your heart and gently hum into your hand on your heart.
Okay.
Or if it's forming words, actually forming the words with clarity, that's more articulation. That's lip, teeth, tongue.
Okay.
And the thing, if you want actual more physical clarity, is to open your mouth that little bit wider.
Okay.
And that does two things. It makes you slow down that tiny bit. And if you have clear consonants, you have a clear structure around the words. And if you're slowing down and opening your mouth a little bit wider, you have more open vowels, and the vowels are the body of the word. So, Ali, do you remember this from the workshop? Years and years and years ago. So
I don't remember it, but I can see it as you're talking.
Yeah,
definitely. And I don't want to jump into Josh's thing, but I'm putting my hand up for the next for you guys.
Yeah. So any other questions, aha moments, light bulbs that anyone has? Yeah, Ali.
So I loved what you were sharing to loosen up the voice and to play with it. And because what I wanted to share was that children do that naturally. So just naturally, especially when they're really little, and it's wonderful. It's like they are just enjoying, like purely and innocently, this wonderful tool that they have. And so when they reach a certain age, like 3, 4, 5, 6, they just love to play. And so I remember Isla, this little girl, quite recently, and I think she was about 5 at the time. Like one morning, just for fun, exactly what you were saying, just for fun, she started to do like this crazy vocal fry thing where she's like, oh, and just like really go for it. And I remember doing that. It's like I remembered, like, I used to do crazy stuff with my voice and really have fun. and also, you know, like to play with the lips and
Yes.
making different shapes and stuff like that. And so that I wanted to share that with everybody, that the, you know, the complete unconditional innocent fun is exactly where we used to
Yeah.
come from with our voice. And you know, we can get back there. We can like
Yeah.
get back to that same state of like, wow, would you listen to me kind of thing, but not in a braggish way. It's just
And
pure,
that's
it's like, wow, I can do that. How interesting. And you know, that's really
and the
just such
joy.
to let go of what came
Yeah.
between, I think.
And the joy of children at that age is the lack of fear of being judged. And this is where the
Yeah.
identity, so the playfulness, that's that 3 to 7 year old playfulness, complete abandon. You know, you go past a primary school playground and it's so loud. And then it's getting younger and younger. So it's probably now like 8, 9. That's when we start going, oh, wait a minute, people are judging me by the way I speak. And this is where our solar plexus identity starts coming in. And that's where all the labels, oh, okay, I'm the quiet one, I'm the noisy one, I'm the joker, I'm the black sheep of the family, I'm the difficult one, I'm the strong one, I'm the girly one, I'm the I'm the good one. Like all of these labels start coming on, and it's the identity. So that your voice is intrinsically connected with your identity as your identity forms from about the age of 8 to 18. It's that really early identity of solidifying, okay, this is how I am. So yes, being able to get back into that more sacral, playful energy of your voice will help you let go of some of the labels that you have put upon yourself or have been put upon you by society. That will help you then shift your identity. And yeah, voice and identity is so interlinked.
Yeah.
So
And
thank you,
like,
Ali.
that's what I'm saying. Once upon a time, we just were having fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to embrace, people will judge you. They will judge you by, especially in this country, by the way you speak. And some people will judge you positively and some people will judge you negatively. And you have judged people positively and negatively because of the way they speak. And you have changed your mind about people and people have changed their minds about you. So it's about allowing your voice that freedom. And yeah, so reflect on what you have learned and embrace what you wish to create. So, oh, gorgeous people. I like to always respect time. So unless there is a last minute 60-second question or aha moment, I will say, yep, I'll just give you just a second, Ali. I'll just say thank you so much for being here. This happens on the first Monday of every month. So the same registration link. And if you have got it, it should, I think, send you a reminder. And, you know, if you want to play with anything else, there's tons on my YouTube channel for free. Come play with the Global Sound Circle online membership meditation. Adelaide's in there for the next couple of months. And of course, I always run workshops during the year. So I've got one on Saturday, the 20th of January. I'm doing a 2.5-hour sounding workshop in Waterloo. And the 1st and 2nd of March is my 2-day vocal confidence workshop. So take a look in my events page. Ali, you had a last minute quick question on aha moment.
Well, no, it's just you've got this cute little thing behind you on the right. What is this little dolly or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
this. Oh, this is the angry egg.
Oh, it's an angry egg.
It's an
Okay.
angry egg. And this was bought for me by a couple of the ladies who came on one of my 7-day sound healing retreats, because I was egg woman, and they thought they quite liked that it was angry egg, because they were like, oh, it's stern Judith, like, yes, don't don't mess with stern Judith. So that's why I have angry egg.
It's so funny. She was looking at me. But it's very cute.
Yay.
Thank
So
you,
lovely
Judith.
to see
Lovely.
you. Thank you so much for being here, and don't be strangers. And yeah, let's meet up in real life as well for those of
That'll
us.
be lovely. Thanks, Judith.
Take care. My absolute pleasure. See you soon.
Bye, Ali. Bye, Ali.
Bye, Ali. Bye, Adelaide. Thank you.
Bye, Adelaide. Bye.